tomatoes, peppers, squash, green beans, peas, pumpkins, potatoes. We have onions and carrots and strawberries. You're watching Gardening with Grits. Welcome to Gardening with Grits, and this is our garden. We have a 20 by 30 foot in-ground garden with several raised beds and a couple pots with berries right on the outskirts of the garden. So let's take a look. This is a brand new channel. Trying the gardening stuff, really enjoy it. This is something my wife and I like to do together. We spend a bunch of time in the garden every day, and I thought I'd share it on this YouTube channel. So come along for the ride. All right, welcome to my garden. What we have here is a 20 by 30 foot garden, and we have several raised beds and some stuff in buckets. We have green beans, peas, there's some cabbage, some squash, a bunch of different kinds of melons in our melon patch here on the backside. So you got pumpkins, cantaloupes, and watermelons all in here. Some of the pumpkins are going absolutely crazy. As you can see, got some crazy looking stuff, and lots of tomatoes. Got a bunch of different varieties of tomatoes. We got peppers here. See the peppers? And we got in different stages, so we had some young ones covered there. And then we actually are a little bit tight because we have some volunteers. So that was a volunteer tomato, and that was a volunteer tomato, and that's a volunteer tomato. And then we planted another volunteer today in a bucket because there's just no more room out here. So, but as you can see, we have a tomato jungle here. And there's probably 4 or 5 different varieties of tomatoes here. We didn't prune. I've never pruned them before, so that may be something we experiment with in the future. But you can see, it's pretty crazy. This year we used the weed fabric to try to block some of the weeds, and it works pretty good. So we might try it even a little bit more aggressive with the weed fabric next year. But as you can see, we got a bunch of stuff going on here. And we've recently expanded this. This was basically 2 foot, and now it's almost 10 foot. Because before we would have these vines coming right out of the critter fence, and they'd start going down the yard. So we thought we'd add a little more room for them to grow before they come out. They're going to come out of the fence anyway, as you can see. And we got to have the fence up because we got lots of rabbits and other little critters around here that like to nibble on our stuff. So we got this welded wire fence here, and then we have hardware cloth around the main part of the garden. So, and we've added some things this year we never had before. Like we have the peas on this trellis, which actually worked out really nice. We're getting more peas this year than we've ever gotten. That's a new item. The weed fabric's new for us this year. I actually used some mulch around a few things this year, which I'd never used mulch before. And this year I used fertilizer. I'd never used fertilizer in the past. And we used fertilizer this year and everything exploded. So we got nice big, getting lots of crops. Green beans, we picked tons of green beans already. We've already picked some squash, and we're gonna have tons and tons of tomatoes. The tomatoes look a little in disarray right now because we had some really high damaging winds a couple nights ago, and we had to kind of go through and tie everything up because the winds were just so bad, and it really took a toll on some of the tomatoes. I thought we were going to lose some of them, but I think most of them, if not all of them, are going to survive. So that is a good thing. So that is my tomato jungle. We always struggle with corn, and as you can see, this corn is not real tall. Looks healthy, but it's not real tall. And then this corn didn't do anything. This is supposed to be popcorn, and it really just didn't do a whole lot. So I think next year the corn is going to go in its own raised bed. So, and we're going to do a little different. Here we got some more tomatoes. If you can see them there, tons of tomatoes. And then right in there, if you can see them, are the Marzana tomatoes, which are a sauce tomato. It's a really neat looking tomato, and they're supposed to be really tasty. So we're gonna find out here this year. And another one of our friends helping us out here. Lots of bees. Like seeing these guys in the garden. We really didn't see them that many in the past, so this year is really nice to see these guys. There's another one there. Going to work. Then we have a couple berries. That's a new berry that we just planted. That's a berry bush. And that's a berry bush there. This guy here is a chokeberry bush. And I think somehow when we bought our bushes, this was marked something else. And we planted it and it grew. So then we got a bush of chokeberries, and I'm not sure what we're gonna do with them, but there they are. And then our potatoes. We're gonna try to do 2 crops of potatoes this year. This is a 6 foot by 3 foot raised bed, all potatoes, and they'll probably be ready to pull here, not too short of a time. And then this raised bed, we have onions, and this is the best our onions have ever looked in this raised bed. So this is probably how we're gonna go with onions going forward, is in a raised bed. And then this one, this initially started off as all strawberries. And strawberries did not come up. So as you can see, we have 2 strawberries on the backside, and they're looking pretty good. Again, we have to cage them, keep the birds and the rabbits off of them. But we since the strawberries didn't come up, we put carrots in, and the carrots are doing okay. So, but I think we're gonna have some carrots. We've never done the carrots in a raised bed before. The raised beds were an addition this year, and we really like it. So I think we got plans to add a couple more raised beds for next season. So this little guy here was a raspberry bush we planted this season, and he's already starting to grow and look good. So he's nice. There you have it. I added kind of an irrigation system this year, which I never had before. So I added a lot of stuff this year, gotten a little more serious about the garden to see what we can really do. And I think we're already seeing fruits of our labor. It's like I said, we've gotten a bunch of peas already, some squash, some green beans, and we're gonna have lots and lots of tomatoes. So now once this crop of green beans is finished producing, I think we're gonna pull these and probably replant and see if we can get a second harvest this year. So, and we may be doing the same thing with the peas. The cabbage, we got the little cabbage bugs, and they got to some of the leaves, and we used some neem oil. So I'm hoping the neem oil works out. It looks like it, because this cabbage here is really starting to look a lot better. So I'm sure we're probably gonna have to use the neem oil a couple times. And then tons of peppers. We love jalapenos and we love green peppers, so we try to grow peppers. And as you can see, we got a few peppers in there. And the reason for these upside down tomato cages is we really had an issue this year with the nesting birds in the spring wanted to come in our garden and snap off all our small plants, and we really had a struggle with that. So all I did was just flip those tomato cages upside down over the plants, and it kept the birds away. I'm not sure why, but it kept the birds off of them. And all the ones that I didn't protect, they got to, and the ones I just put those cages on like that, and the birds left them alone. So not sure if it was the color or it's just the ease of access was gone, but so that's something we're thinking about for next year. Our neighbor has a huge cherry tree, and the birds love getting on those cherries, and they leave those pits everywhere. But early in the season, before the cherries get red, they like to come in our garden. Now once the cherries are real red right now, and they're attacking that tree, and I'm sure we're going to have problems once all those cherries are gone. So it's something we're keeping an eye on. One of the suggestions to keep the birds out of your garden was to add a bird bath. So we added that little bird bath right there, and we're probably going to add another one. The pumpkins and the zucchini plants are looking really good. We have some cantaloupes and some watermelons intermingled. We had to start the cantaloupes a couple times because the birds kept getting to them, so that's why I have the cages around the cantaloupes. They're coming along. We just put those in not too long ago. We have the watermelons. We had to put cages around them because the birds kept wanting to chomp them off. So, and now they're growing big enough where the birds are kind of leaving them alone. The zucchinis are doing really well. And there's that cherry tree. I don't know if you can see the birds flying around, but there's tons and tons of birds. And we can sit and watch them all day long, just flying in and out of that tree. All kinds of birds, cardinals, robins, you name it. And they're actually eating the full cherry, which I was always under the impression that they were just going after the water in the berries, but they're actually eating the full berry and just leaving the cherry pits everywhere. So as evident, there's some cherry pits right there in my grow area of my melon patch. So check on the pumpkins today. Look at that joke, it's big, and so is that one. So, well, and I can sit right here. We have a swing right here, and my wife and I like to sit in this swing, and we'll just watch the birds in the evening. They'll fly out of this tree, this big tree here, right there, and then they'll fly over to the cherry tree, and they'll fly back and forth all day, all evening long. They're doing it right now, actually. So, and I guess they'll do it until those cherries are gone. So I guess we'll end the video right here with this little furry guy chomping on some clover just a few feet from the garden. And this is what all the fencing is about, keeping this little guy out. He'd eat his weight in vegetables if we'd let him. But that being said, we appreciate you stopping by the channel and watching the video. We'd also appreciate if you hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and we will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.